Now, that being said, before we do that, we're going to look ahead to next week, which is habit number 8, healthier eating guidelines, because next week I want to lead you all through a 5-day fast mimicking, I don't even want to call it a challenge, but like fast mimicking diet, I guess you'd say. And so that's going to be Monday through Friday of next week. And I believe that's what, like the 4th through the 8th. Yeah. And basically, fast mimicking diet comes out of Walter Longo's work. He's a regenerative doctor and scientist, I guess you could say. And he has a kit online that you could search. It's called Prolon, Prolon. And what he's done is he's put together the whole package for you. You buy it for like, I don't know, $200 and something. And all of the meals are already inside that package for you. So all you have to do is make what he sends you, and you don't have to worry about counting calories or doing any of these things, all right? Now, for anybody who either just like doesn't have the budget to do that and still wants to try some sort of fast mimicking, like it is almost a little silly. You're paying a whole bunch of money for very few calories, for something like 500 calories a day. So Kate Stillman, who I study with and who leads the Yoga Healer community, she sort of like hacked the Prolon kit and created her own version of the fast mimicking diet. By the way, welcome, Brigitte. I'm just walking everyone through next week a little bit. And so take your time getting settled in, and then we'll all check in together. So I'm going to share this PDF with all of you. I don't even know if she like sells this independently or not, but I have access to it. And I just feel that I've paid her so much money that I'm sure I probably have permission to share this with you all. But I won't go extensively through it. I'll just skim here at the moment. But one of Kate's big thrusts right now is to get people back into relationship with the habit of fasting, which is seen more so in the lens of probably intermittent fasting in these days. And really like fasting as a tool to combat chronic inflammation. So chronic inflammation is a big problem today. It's the leading cause of most diseases, these autoimmune diseases that we're seeing, but not only, also cardiovascular, all sorts. And if we want to kind of nip it in the bud, if you will, with chronic inflammation, you have to have some habits that are basically anti-inflammatory. And so she sort of talks about how these have been habits for a very long time. It used to be called calorie restriction rather than fast mimicking diet. Basically, you're eating less than 70% of what you normally eat. That's about 500 to 800 calories, as opposed to the normal 2,000 to 2,500. And then this triggers a fasting state in the body. Once we're in this fasting state, the cells enter what is called autophagy. Auto means self, and phagy or phage means to eat. So you're going more into that catabolic state. And really, it's like your body and your cells are cleaning house when you're empty. Since there isn't new stuff going in, the cell turns around and it targets that which is dysfunctional in the cell. All right. She's got a bunch of nice citations here and all this stuff. So again, you'll have access to this thing. And there's even a link to the Prolon if you want to do that instead. She talks about why she hacked the Prolon kit. And then this to me was like the crucial tool that made this possible. I've done this fast mimicking diet twice now. And I guess really one of the reasons I want to share it with you all is because it's, I've never felt better than when I did this. It's hard to describe, but I've never felt closer to myself. I've never felt cleaner in my body. And yeah, I thought that there was remarkable results. And this tool was crucial in making it happen for me. So I constructed my mini meals, my 3 mini meals, basically out of this list right here that she provides. And sometimes I did go back and forth and I checked, you know, with either the label or online what the certain calories were. And you might be like me, where it's like normally you don't calorie count, but this week you will. And I kind of like calorie counting in this week particular. Normally I don't. But yeah, like she makes some suggestions of what to eat. Kelsey and I were just chatting about bone broth. I mean, I got really into bone broth the last time around. I really also decided to load up more on fats, like healthy fats, to really nourish the physiology. And she also talks about that in here as well. Okay. In terms of like traditional fast mimicking, you're not doing as much fat. If you want to do a keto fast mimicking, you're upping the fat. So that way your body is sourcing energy from the ketones it's producing from the fat instead of the blood sugar, insulin metabolism. All right. I'm thinking if there's anything else with this guide that I want to walk you through. Again, I'll send you this. You'll have access to the whole thing. And then, yeah, it's really for me very much a, notice what you notice kind of process. Like it's a great time when you're fasting to also sort of fast from content of whether it's social media or too much conversation. Give yourself some nice, easy evenings. And I just want to also say that like nobody has to do this. Like only do this if you feel called to do this. The invitation I'll give you if you want to still participate in some way is the following. It's going to be more intermittent fasting. Oops. And what I would do is just look at the 5 days of the week and say on each day what you want your fasting window to be. So for example, like if you're a little familiar with intermittent fasting already, you already do it sometimes, you might feel comfortable fasting for 16 hours, 16 hours, and eating for 8 hours. So that might mean you wake up in the morning, you have your first meal around 10 o'clock. You have your last meal around, what would that be, like 6 o'clock, I guess. And then you don't eat between those hours. So you fast for the full 16. Basically what she's saying is that autophagy, it kicks in at 13 hours. And you don't have to do a 16-8 every single day, but you just want the 2 hours to add up to 24 basically. So some of you might even do a 14-10. That's a really nice way to start. And I would write it out beforehand what you want to do for each of them. Maybe there's a 12-12, depending on what your normal one is. And for anybody who's like super, super new to the whole thing, I would just actually leave this blank. And then as you go through your week, write down what you're doing currently. So that way you're just raising your awareness around it, right? You're just kind of noting. I think a lot of people find over time that like they're not even getting 12 hours where their body isn't taking food into it, just depending on the time that they ate dinner and then when they eat the next morning. I know that was certainly the case for me when I was, staying up late after performances, eating after performances, waking up early, putting, half and half or whatever in my coffee. And all of a sudden my body's producing insulin, and it hasn't even had that full opportunity to go into the emptiness cycle.